Hi, and welcome back to Listen You Beautiful Bitch. We're a shady self-help podcast for our younger selves. I'm Hannah.
I'm Sandra.
I'm Susie.
And I'm Katie.
And this week we are asking ourselves, if your 5-year-old self suddenly found themselves inhabiting your current body, what would your 5-year-old self do?
Well, I think I'd initially scream and cry because it's really scary. I'd be a lot taller, I'd see things differently, probably have better, clearer vision because my eyes grew. Not in size, but they just got better.
In strength. My eyes grew in strength.
Don't you wear like -3.5 contact?
Yeah, anyway. It's whatever. Like, I don't even remember seeing leaves when I was 5. Do you? Now I can look outside and see them so clearly.
Yeah.
But then I would go eat some Chef Boyardee ravioli out of a can.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
My mom would say that gives you worms. Like, that's her thing. If you eat anything out of the can, she would be like, you know that's going to give you worms.
What does that even mean?
Well, I am a worm. What would y'all do?
We would love you no matter what.
Just
like, can someone put Sandra back in her human suit now?
I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
It's like a Men in Black thing.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, hold your skin suit open for you so you could just slither back in, and then we pick you up from there.
Worms.
Well, my 5-year-old self would eat a ton of ice cream right out of the tub, like one of those big gallon-sized tubs that you get that like your grandparents always had. That's not a brand. I would eat right out of that with a bunch of chocolate sauce, and I would admire my Tig Old Biddies because did not have those when I was 5, but always been a big fan. So
Is that like the big plastic circle tubs you're talking about? Ice cream?
Yeah, with the red handles.
Yeah, my mom always used those to clean the carpet with her Resolve. Like, she'd have a little bit of water. She'd save those and then have a little bit of water in the bottom. And
It makes sense.
they were everywhere in the house being used for Resolve. Like the spray Resolve.
Yeah, but I'm confused.
She'd get like a brush and like have a little bit of water in her little tub.
So she could.
Oh, okay. So she was using it like a bucket.
Yeah.
Okay. For some
Sorry.
reason, I was thinking she was putting the Resolve in the bucket and then just sitting it there. I'm like, well, that's not going to work. Laura, come on.
It probably did sound like that. But no.
Well, I would drive right to the grocery store and buy all of the Little Debbie Star Crunches because I don't let that evil in my house now. But back then, Debbie and I were good friends.
Put a hurting on some Little Debbies.
Yeah. And then I'd look down and be like, oh, still no Tig Old Biggidies.
Tig Old Biggidies.
I don't have any of those.
Same
There's
though.
the episode title right off the bat.
Look, I had a little catch in my throat, okay? It's from eating all the Oreos.
Oh, Thuthan.
Similar to those. Shoot, I'd go ham in the candy aisle and probably empty my bank account on the toy aisle. Like, specifically the Lego aisle. Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would
Awful.
stay up really late too. And
Oh,
watch
yeah. Yes.
so much cartoon.
All the scary movies.
yeah.
All the scary
Yeah.
movies. Oh my god.
I would watch Scooby-Doo until the fucking cows came home.
Yep.
Never go to bed.
Nope.
I would learn what my credit card balance is or my credit limit. I'd be like, all right, let's do some fast math here. I can buy all these Barbies. I can buy all these Little Debbies and all these Barbies and have a fucking party.
You could probably call Little Debbie and be like, here's
Sup,
my
girl?
credit card number.
This is my credit score. You trying to party?
See, I wasn't that strategic as a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
Been
no.
like, no, I want cartoons and I want ice cream and I don't want to go to bed. That is still kind of what I want out of life. So,
And some
Yeah.
Tig Old Biddies.
and some Tig Old Biddies.
I've always been a
Katie
scheming
and I
manipulative
both don't
bitch.
have any of those, so.
Yeah.
So what was y'all's favorite Little Debbie?
The Christmas trees.
The Christmas trees?
Star Crunch.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having a hard time choosing.
know.
Honestly.
I do like the fluffy white cakes though too. Just love zebra cakes
Yeah.
dipped in milk.
Those are good.
And then those like Dunkin' like donut things you could like dip in.
The little sticks.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, girl.
Were the peanut butter ones also part of those? The little peanut butter chocolate, like, bar.
Or like the Nutty Buddies.
The
Oh,
Nutty Buddies.
God, yes. Those are good.
See, mine's in
Gotta get a
between.
few of
Yeah,
those.
this is hard. Like the Swiss cake roll or the fudge round.
Oh.
Yeah, see, at fudge round, oatmeal cream pie. They used to have a
the
peanut
oatmeal
butter
cream pie.
How could you forget?
Oh my god. That was some milk is good.
What do they put in there?
Crack.
It,
Like
Straight
all the
sugar.
sugar.
it's just
All the
sugar and
drugs.
oil and oatmeal. That's literally all it
So
is.
bad. Diabetes.
God, now I want some.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But they also used to have like peanut butter and jelly oatmeal cream pie type things.
What?
So like
Do
instead of
what?
Like those little Smuckers
Yeah.
sandwiches the kids eat these days.
except
that
they
I
had
want.
the oatmeal cream pie crusts with peanut butter and jelly inside. So
Is that like a Dollar General brand or something?
no, that was
What the
really
hell was
heavy.
this?
I don't. It was part of my childhood. I remember
Sounds
it vividly.
amazing.
Yeah, Swiss cake rolls. Those were fancy. Like
Mm.
if we got Swiss cake rolls, things were real fancy. And then oh god, what was there was one my mom called them choco gels, but they're like the moon pies with the cherry gel in the middle. that are-
Ooh, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we would put those in the fridge. Me and mom would get them choco gels.
Whoa.
We used to have this like
They go away so
German
fast.
chocolate treat when I was a kid, and it was like something like Küsschen, and it was like a kiss basically, but it was like this little thin wafer with this giant marshmallow on it, covered in chocolate. Oh god, it was I would just inhale the whole thing. You're
That sounds
supposed to
really
like
good.
in a few bites, but yeah.
Well, now it's time to talk about things that have hurt our feelings over the last week. So, who wants to start?
I'll start. I lost my keys on fancy dress night. I lost them.
First, she lost her phone.
My phone was stolen from me.
But yeah, yes, it was.
I recovered that. My keys are gone forever. But he was the first person I called. I was like, "Did you take my phone or my keys?"
No.
And he was like, "No." And I'm like, "Will you check your pockets? Because you said you didn't take my phone either." And so I heard him like rustling around. He's like, "No, I really don't have your keys."
You never found them?
Nope,
Oh.
they're gone.
What'd you have on there?
Thankfully, just my house key, my car key, and my gym, like my gym pass. So I was able to get the spares for everything and get a new gym pass. And then I just changed out the locks on my front door and got one of the pin pad ones.
Smart.
So now I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, that's good.
Because that night,
Poor
Ashley and I
him.
went home, didn't realize I'd forgot or lost my keys until we were at the front door and the Uber had driven off.
Oh no.
And so I had to crawl in through my kitchen window in my fancy dress.
No.
Yeah, like I like hulked off the fence because we have the privacy fence and it's got a deadbolt on the inside so people can't get in. So like I ripped a strip off of the fence in my
what I would
drunken
have
Hulk state.
given to see that.
Yeah, and then climbed through my kitchen window over the stove and then let Ashley in. Then the next day, I realized that my back door had been unlocked the entire time, and my dumbass never even checked it. So
It'd be like that sometimes.
It did be like that.
Oh no.
So yeah, that's what I'm crying about.
No. Hey, at least you got everything back though. Like I mean, you
Yeah,
had-
I'm missing a car key, so
no.
that's the worst of it. I'll get it. I'm due for a service, so I'll get them to replace it.
I'm Sally.
But I made it 30 years before I lost anything huge like that, so
Shit happens.
feeling okay. Feeling okay.
Oof.
30 has not been my year. You know what? 30 has not been my year. I went to urgent care, lost my keys.
Can you get a do-over?
31's coming.
Just go back.
I mean, last year it started with me like falling into my own throw up
I do remember that.
after turning 29. So, well, at least you didn't fall into your own vomit and thought you
True.
broke your shoulder or something.
True.
Oh God, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
it's okay.
Cool. So what are you crying about, Sandra?
Got an aura migraine today, which really sucked, and that is 100% what I'm crying about.
Yeah.
So it was so shitty. So everyone feel really bad for me.
I feel terrible for you.
I decided to listen to Eminem's new album
Oh no.
on the treadmill yesterday, and I wasn't emotionally prepared for how dark it was. And I started crying while doing Couch to 5K. First, because there's a song that ends with like a really realistic sounding like domestic violence incident.
Oh shit.
And I mean, Eminem is like known for that, whatever. But I feel like a lot of times you can tell that they're acting, but this was like a dad like beating the shit out of his kid. And it just like really upset me.
Goosebumps.
And then the next song ended with just like a mash of like sound clips from like all of the shootings.
Oh god.
Just like like news clips like over top of each other, like back to back to back to back. So then that upset me. And then today in yoga, Julie decided it was like a good idea to play like Bonnie Raitt and like Alison Krauss and like Tracy Chapman's Fast Car came on. And I can't listen to that song in a good mood and not cry.
Same.
So cried in yoga, and I had to sit next to the creepy dude.
Oh no names, but I know who you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And so, just one of them days.
He looks like Doc from Back to the Future.
Oh God.
There was, when we do the thing where we like arms in a T shape and we throw our legs over to one side and then our face has to go to the other side.
Did he hold your hand?
No, that motherfucker had touched me. I would have kicked him right in the dick. But the way his like pants were, they were really low on his stomach and they were loose right there. And I just happened to open my eyes at the wrong time as he was shifting and saw I didn't see anything, but I saw like the fluff. And I was just like,
oh my God.
Did you do this on purpose? Did you do this on purpose? I can't fucking tell.
It was like one of those creepy like exhibitionists.
Oh, Susie, what are you crying about?
I don't know. Being very emotional and like overly sensitive lately. And like 2 weeks ago, I woke up with like a kink in my neck. I guess I must have slept funny. I don't know what happened. It went away. But then yesterday, I went to the park with Corey and his daughter and went down the fucking twisty slide and did something to my neck again. And I was fully reminded that in a month, I will be turning 30. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I can't go down the twisty slide anymore without hurting myself. And I got like plastic burn on my ankle. Yeah, no, it was just oh boy. I'm like, oh God.
You got to prepare for this stuff.
I'm kind of crying about getting old, sort of.
You got to do stretches.
Yep.
Get your fiber in.
Oh my God, yes.
Are you taking your Metamucil?
Nope.
Daily vitamin?
Let me start taking some like Activia. Jesus.
Activia.
No, yeah.
There's a reason Jamie Lee looks so good.
Yes.
She does, doesn't she?
She does, actually.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Silver fox.
No, yeah. Just being emotionally
I'd fuck her.
dumb.
I would. 10 out of 10.
Tap that.
Oh, yeah. Straight up lesbian cougar style, it would happen.
Wow.
She's got a really pretty smile too.
She does.
Yeah.
Really white.
I like
white,
her in Freaky
white
Friday. That was a good movie.
Yeah, that was. That's a
Lindsay
sleeper.
Lohan.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, speaking of lesbian experiences with Jamie Lee Curtis.
This leads right into our topic for today.
Let me tell you how I found Jesus.
Between Jamie Lee's legs.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesus made her. Okay. Oh my God. Wowzers.
Wow.
So today's topic is all about the thing you're not supposed to talk to your friends about, but we're going to talk about it today is religion and spirituality. So
I should say this was a listener request. So Kaylin Starr on Instagram requested this one for us. So,
cool.
Kaylin, if you're listening, we got you, girl.
Yeah. I mean, it's something. It's good. This is good. It's going to be a good conversation.
Sorry in advance.
Same.
No, it's okay. Everything's, we are who we are. Okay. So I guess, when did you first learn about religion? Are you religious or spiritual? Have you ever been? What are our experiences? Go.
Okay. I don't know. I fall somewhere in the middle, I think. So I was raised really religious and grew up in a household where I was going to church on Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays. Because my grandparents were Seventh-day Adventist. So I would go to church with them. And my grandma played piano and organ. So I would always just go to church with her because she would play it at all the churches. So she played Seventh-day Adventist on Saturdays, at the Baptist church on Sundays and Wednesdays. And I would go with her there. So I got lots and lots of church time as a kid, and then joined youth groups as I got older because that was like the only way to socialize really in a really small town. Like you didn't have neighbors or anything. And so really through college, I was in church all the time. And honestly, I didn't retain any of it, like none of it. And I went 3 times a week for almost 20 years. Like,
wow. Yeah.
Nothing. Even though when we were in the Uber driver's car the other day, and he had on Joel Osteen or whatever. He like I was listening and I was like, oh God, I know this story. I was like, it's like, what's his face? It was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I was like, they're gonna throw him in the fire.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I did have a moment where I was like, they're gonna throw him in the fire, but they're not gonna melt because Jesus is with them.
What the fuck?
Those are the kind of stories you hear in Bible school. So yeah, grew up doing that, but like really didn't take anything from it except the guilt that was associated with it. Like I always felt like a really bad Christian growing up because, and I don't know where this came from exactly because it didn't come from my parents necessarily. They're super accepting and, you know, very chill about like spirituality being your own personal journey and not being pressuring or anything like that. But yeah, I always just felt really guilty, I guess, from the services and stuff about not being a good enough Christian. And like, I would feel guilty because I would get distracted while I was trying to say my prayers. And like every night, every single night, I would start praying and then just go off into my own little world. And I'm like, oh, dang it. I was like, I'm sorry. So once I got through, like I was in college and I remember there was a guy, I was in FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and they had a guest speaker preacher there. And he was just the most pretentious dickhead. And I remember like listening to him and he was like, and some of you in here, you guys don't believe, and I know exactly who you are. And da-da-da-da-da. And I remember like staring at him going, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not coming back here. Like these are not the people I want to be around anymore.
No.
So that's when I stopped going to church. And honestly, I have felt so much better since then. Like I still go with Henry's family, like on holidays and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
other than that, I felt much better about my life. I just try and be a good person and treat people the way I would want to be treated and not do anything too shameful that would affect anyone except me. Maybe I should say that. Because I'm full of shame, but it's shame of myself, nothing else. So
Right.
yeah. Yeah, that's kind of I don't know. Now I think, I do believe there is some sort of higher power up there. Like, I don't think it's a single entity, like one God or anything like that. But I don't know, maybe the universe or people's energy or vibes or whatever. I do think those things have an effect on the greater good or the greater society. I don't know. It's way over my head, honestly.
It's a lot.
Over everybody's
It's-
head, I think. Nobody really knows.
Like I'm way underqualified.
No, but that's
understand
cool. Like
this.
just for someone who started out like as pretty religious, like how you became so open-minded. And I think obviously you being out amongst other people and like hearing other people's opinions helps with that too. But
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way for everybody.
No, it certainly doesn't.
I didn't
Right.
really start out. My parents were definitely not religious at all. But like, I don't know. They were very like, yeah, go to church with your friends, see what it's like. Like if you like it, go or whatever. And we grew up in the mountains, so we were like teeny tiny little church, like your old school typical. Like there's no fancy TVs, no nothing. And I thought it was cool. I guess I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll go. It seems like fun. But then I remember the girl I used to go with, her mom didn't want her to play with me anymore because I made our Barbies kiss. And she said it was like sinful. It was so funny. And I, even at a young age, was like, well, that's dumb. Like, okay, fuck you. Like, whatever. All my Barbies to make out. I don't know. It was dumb. But so I didn't really go anymore. And I don't really believe in anything. I'm more of like, I guess, a pessimist. And I'm like, well, there's so much negative that goes on. Like, how could someone let something like that happen? Like, you know, child abuse, all that. I mean, I could go on and on like forever about stuff like that. But I'm definitely like similar in that there's definitely like something with karma and I guess kind of like a reincarnation thing. Like if you're an asshole in this life and you're going to come back as, you know, something not so great. I don't know. So there's maybe a higher power. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm like completely atheist, but agnostic, I guess, too.
I feel like
But-
I'm agnostic.
Yeah, like there's something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm more definitely science-based than anything, for sure. Like there's too much that disproves a lot, like, and proves a lot. But, yeah.
I'm a Christian.
Welcome. We
Oh,
accept you and love you.
I'm here. I
do
accept
love
you
you.
guys, and I love you guys too. Exactly the same way. Yeah, I always went. Well, actually, I don't go to church anymore. I, for a long time, was Presbyterian, and that denomination, I never felt judged. It was only when I started going to different denominations like Baptist or not even non-denominational or like ones that just didn't want to specify. They just said, we're a church. Which you would think would be like, you know, they're not trying to specify anything, so maybe they are not going to judge you. But then you go in there, it's just totally different. That was my experience. And I have a lot of experience with just parts of my family, and I know that Christians a lot of the time can come off as total assholes, and I've been there, and I'm a believer, and I've been the one being judged for just living my life the way I do, and yada yada yada. But I, always have thought that Jesus is someone to look up to just because of how he accepted everybody and loved everybody equally, and loved his neighbors as himself, and just helped everybody, which I always thought was something good to look up to. And if anything, I think a lot of the religions really are pretty similar in that they're all just seeking a lot of the same thing, which is just peace and defeating evil. To me, actually, it's funny, the Muslim religion and Christian religion, I think, are very similar.
They're super similar.
When you go back and look at like the Quran, you compare it to the Bible, they're very, very similar. Now there are things that are very different about it, but if you're looking at the storyline, you just have to go back and Google it. It's too much to even explain right now. But the Bible, for the longest time, I was told to live by the Bible, live by the Word of God. And there's just a lot of things in there that don't apply today. And I think a lot of Christians believe that and know that.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny how sometimes Christians say, like, I live by the Bible. But then there's just things in the Bible that don't.
Well, the Bible was written by people. Like it was written by
men.
And it's been rewritten a few times.
Yeah.
Like they just change things, I think.
So in the Bible, they said you can't spend money on Sundays. And I remember that. I'll always remember that because I remember reading that and being like, really? But another thing that I remembered, because I was Googling, I was like, there's a lot in the Bible that, because I don't remember it word for word, but I did go to youth groups, read it all through all these youth groups. But women were forbid to cut their hair. You were supposed to greet one another with a holy kiss. Like, these are things that were commands in the Bible, like that are not happening today.
Yeah.
So sure, you can live by a lot of the things that still apply in the Bible. I think that's totally okay. Yeah, my biggest takeaway from being a Christian is to really just do more for others than you do for yourself. I think that's the biggest takeaway out of a lot of religions. So,
and something you said is, that Jesus was someone to look up to. And in the Bible, Jesus is a cool guy. Like, that's the thing, is like so much of his life really was leading by example, which I think is the best thing you can do with any religion. And so like he was really living out what he was preaching and practicing. Like, at no point did he say sacrifice people or
right.
like, he was always the one saying treat others the way you want to be treated. So whether you're a believer or a non-believer, I think finding those lessons in religion and finding the people that you admire, like, I can see why he was the person that it all kind of boiled down to.
And even like Allah, and even like in the Buddhist faith and Scientology even. I mean, there's all of religions have basically that one common understanding. So yeah,
that's when money gets mixed in, is when
churches, I just don't, this is why I've just never, like, Mike and I have talked, we want to raise our kids in if we find a church that we like, we want to raise it in them, but then it's going to be hard, like there's things, because I do think that growing up in the church that I did grow up in, I made a lot of friends. I had good morals. Like, not that saying people who don't go to church don't have those things, but I do think there was a lot of positive that came out of it. It was only whenever I started going to different denominations that I started getting like judged, and then I was like, why is this so negative?
But it's good that you saw that. I think as long as you like, it's good you want to raise them with some sort of religion, and also without. Either way is fine. But I think if you're gonna do that, like, as long as you're open minded and the fact that they're probably gonna seek something else potentially, and like what you did, go to other places and check out what else is out there, and you don't judge them for it, then fuck yeah. Like,
no, that's what we talked about. We said,
more than most people do.
Our kids are going to be able to make their own choices.
All right, I'm right up there with you. I went to church a lot as a kid, Sundays, Wednesdays, and then as a teenager, like, I went voluntarily with a friend, but I've always thought it was bullshit. I used to have some very good imagination time in church and some good naps in church. And then as a teenager, I remember I had this Bible for teens.
Oh, yes.
Like, did you have that, with like the little bubbles inside? And so I'd like follow along, and the whole time I was just like, this is fucking stupid. Y'all are all dumb. and I don't want to be here. Yeah, so I don't believe in any deities.
Mm-hmm.
So not religious, spiritual, yes. I think that there is a higher power in the universe, and I believe that you can manipulate your energies to attain the things that you want, and that's just about it.
So this is really interesting to me because you have your witchcraft podcast.
Yes.
So how does that fit into your spirituality?
I mean, witchcraft it's all energy manipulation. So you create this energy, and the more energy you have and the more energy you put into something, the more powerful it is. Which is, I mean, and this is a weird crossover I find between Christianity and witchcraft, is that it's all the law of attraction. Like, if you pray for something to Jesus or God or whatever you believe in, that's attracting, that's manifesting.
I feel like you're subconsciously like just wanting it more, and you're trying harder to get it without really like actually realizing you're trying.
It's not that I believe that it's not that a God is answering your prayers. I believe that you are constantly thinking this thing, putting this out into the universe. That energy that you put out comes back to you and what you want.
Yeah.
Toads.
Yeah, I believe in that too.
Yeah.
Putting out good energy, I think, is important.
Yeah, and there's
give
lots
what you
of
get.
like law of attraction, Christianity affirmation journal binder things you can buy on Amazon. Just look them up. God, there's so many of them.
I think that's funny that you caught on to the bullshit so young. I remember looking at I had one of those illustrated Bibles when I was a kid. And what was the one story where like the guy tries to kill his son or kills his son?
Abraham.
And I was just like, that's fucked up. Like, he just killed his kid. I was
There's
like,
a lot, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
There's
what
a
is
lot
this?
of fucked up stuff in the
Right?
Bible, like legitimately.
And I was like 8 or 9 reading this, and it was a very bloody, gory kids' Bible. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's not okay.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I remember the kids' story. I said I didn't retain anything. I do remember a lot of the kids' stories. So like one guy got thrown into a lion's den.
God.
And then there were Cain and Abel at the very first.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like
I
the
forgot
two
about
brothers fucking killed each other.
Yup.
No, Cain killed Abel.
that. I think
Or
one
Abel
of the
killed-
two.
I don't remember that part. But one of them killed the other one because he was jealous of him.
Yeah,
that
it's-
where it's
they're all terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, what kind of stories
fucking
are we telling?
brutal,
kids?
man.
God.
My dad used to read us stories out of the Bible, and not like the kids' Bible, but like stories out of his like
Oof.
leather-bound binder Bible. Fuck. And I remember the one someone has like stolen a baby, and they take it to the king, and the king's like, all right, we're cutting this baby in half.
Oh.
Solomon.
I remember that
something.
being just like a creepy. That was in one of the kids' Bibles too. I remember just like the
Yeah,
pictures
well,
for
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Ugh.
And then it's like,
No, I'm not okay.
they're gonna cut a baby in half.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fucked up.
Like, that's not what I want to think about right before I like go to bed.
Yeah. It's just
So then I'm
sounds
like
terrifying.
traumatized.
Yeah. And I mean, like that also, shit like that happened in all other religions, like in historical texts,
Oh yeah.
just at the time in general. And it wasn't like, that's one of the things I find is like BS is like, I don't think God actually told these people to do these things.
No.
And I think it was a lot of war, obviously, and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just crazy. Like the Bible itself, the Old Testament is a lot of this stuff is like crazy
Fucked.
shit. Like,
Fire
I know.
and brimstone. I mean, that's growing up Baptist and Seventh-day Adventist. They're all about the end of days, man.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the Old Testament is their jam.
And
Really
I've had
hard.
Christians look at me and be like, if you don't, and I've had said this, to Christians, and they're like, if you don't believe in the Bible, then you don't believe in God. And I'm like, well, okay.
Let's agree to
And that's
disagree.
it. So yeah, and that shit, I do remember these stories and being like, holy shit. Like, even in the like Revelations.
Oh, well, Revelations is fire and brimstone. Like, that's the end of the
So-
world. But Genesis, like, because as a kid who was trying really hard to be a good Christian, like, I would start at Genesis. I'm like, I'm just going to start from the beginning. So I've read Genesis a lot.
Yeah, I did too. I did too.
And then about Exodus, I'm like, this is boring. I'm moving on. But
But then I just stopped reading the
Yeah.
Bible because, probably all of what we just said.
Yep.
So I have my little, like, I have like a Jesus calling.
I think you
But it-
practice like the more,
all that's
normal, natural. I don't know.
probably the
like,
positive stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what I like to look at.
But
anyway,
there's
and
nothing
stuff
wrong
like
with that. Like, there's no reason to focus on all the negative. Like,
Yeah.
most of that shit's bullshit.
Yeah, and what is
So,
the benefit of it?
there is none.
What is the benefit to society of focusing on the
None.
negative parts of these
Especially now,
practices?
we
Yeah.
see all the negative every damn day on the news.
Yeah.
Like horrible shit.
Leads
that
well
happens.
into our other.
Yeah. So, what is our likes and dislikes and about religion and spirituality? Let's just keep this train rolling. How's that sound?
Yeah.
It's all that negativity.
Yeah.
People are just like and this is, I mean, no names obviously, but people I work with, like a lot of them are, you know, from here, and they're very, very religious and very judgmental. And a lot of the posts I see, they're comparing Democrats and like women who get abortions to like the most horrible people. Yeah. And boy, do I have to bite my tongue. I'm like, I just need to delete like these people. I don't know why I'm friends with them anyway, but I'm just like, it's people like that who give other Christians a bad name, because they're not all like that. Like but I'm like, you don't see us, like, God forbid we compare you to someone like that. You know, it's crazy. Like, so yeah, if you're going to be hateful and push your crap on me and try and make me feel bad, I don't feel bad, but try and make me feel bad, then I'm like, fuck you. You are what is turning me off to religion.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I literally don't give a shit what anybody does.
Yeah.
It affects me none. It
doesn't.
bothers me when people when their religion starts to affect me. Like with the abortion thing, like that's all religious based. And my opinion is, if you don't want an abortion, don't have one.
Yeah.
If you don't want to get gay married, don't get gay married. If you don't want to go to church, don't go to fucking church. Don't care.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like,
oh fuck, amen.
and
It
Jesus.
sounds easy, right? But
yeah, I mean, I just
here
feel
we are.
You know, it's the boomers. I'm just kidding. But my other big issue with religion, and it's not even with religion. Like, again, I don't care what anybody believes. Like, if you want to believe in it, fucking go for it. But I think organized religion is bad. I think churches, mega churches, these giant Christian whatever else organizations that lobby and give tons and tons of money and don't pay taxes.
Don't pay taxes.
Oh my god, it makes me. You know where the money goes. Like fucking.
I found a really good quote that I like that I think explains it. My thoughts on it. And this is from it's not from Reddit.
Okay.
It's from Mehmet Murat Ildan. And it's, while there are millions of hungry people all around the world, while there are thousands of homeless people in every country, while some continents are in horrible poverty, while there are not enough schools, not enough hospitals in the entire world, we are building churches, mosques, synagogues, or temples and spending money on guns, war, and industry. And these are the greatest treasons to humanity.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like churches need to pay taxes. I mean, we can get into Mormons in a second, but if you look at a lot of the LDS temples, they're incredible. I mean, they're beautiful and they're massive and they're big and they cost millions and millions of dollars. Stephen Furtick's house in Charlotte cost $5 million.
That whole thing pisses
and
me
it's
off.
owned by the church, and so he doesn't pay taxes on it.
And this is like not to piss anyone off necessarily if you are an Elevation person, but at the same time, like take a look at where that money is going. Just
Elevation is a pyramid scheme.
It is. It totally is.
No,
I totally agree.
Their whole
oh my god.
Their whole program is you bring 2 people. Okay, now you bring 2 people.
Yep.
Now you bring 2 people.
All the people that sing and do everything up there have like fashion designers and people that dress them and like whatever. Like,
I'm just saying the Righteous
insane.
Gemstones is not far off.
The Righteous Gemstones is extremely
spot on.
extremely close to going to a contemporary Christian church. Like it's funny because it's true. Like, oh my god, just the opening scene where they're singing Our God is an Awesome God in Chinese and doing the mass baptism. I'm like, oh my god.
This is real life.
Oh god. And then John Goodman being like, we say 5,000 souls this weekend. Okay.
So
I literally, no lie, went to Elevation twice because I went the first time and was like, that was weird and cultish and I didn't like it. And they did the thing where they literally said, they're like, this Easter weekend, people, we had 1,200 souls commit their lives to Christ. And I'm like, really?
What?
Really? 1,200 people, huh? In one service. Like, you're saying there was no mob psychology in that? Like, people were just moved by the Spirit? Bullshit. So a few years later, I went back because I was like, you know what? Maybe it was just a bad experience the first time. I should give it another chance. Same thing. And both times, I think this was before they had resident pastors. So like you literally showed up and it was just watching Stephen Furtick on a TV.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is weird.
No, it's
fucking
creepy.
Weird. Like I do not want to watch a broadcast of a preacher
who wears the same boots as I do. Swear to God.
I never saw his boots.
It's
I
weird.
have
The whole
some
thing is weird.
family members who will remain nameless that are elevators, and I guess that's what they're called. And I mean, so they have their kids e-group, they have their adult e-group. They literally spend pretty much every single free time working for this church for free. For free. They bring the supplies to their e-groups, and like, yes, they are doing like good stuff. Like they're doing good stuff. Like they're hanging out with like needy kids and food to food banks and stuff like that. All of that's good, but it's just this like weird like cult mentality that they have, that all of their free time goes to Elevation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
All of it.
It's creepy.
Yeah, I've never been to Elevation, but
Don't go.
I've been to churches similar and definitely wasn't. I didn't feel welcomed.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
No, especially if they're like, where have you gone before? Or like, why haven't you come here before? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Why are you hounding me right now?
I have another quote. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
go
off.
for it.
That I say specifically for Elevation, and it's only sheep need a shepherd.
Oh,
Shots fired.
That is from Elizabeth
drop.
Lomelli.
Beautiful.
But I think that
I agree,
goes
though.
to the idea of what we've all kind of said, which is that spirituality is a personal journey. Like you don't need to look to a pastor or a group to find your direction. Like whatever feels right for you and whatever feels like, feels like your best truth. I don't know. Like if you're living your truth, and if other people can support that and make you feel supported, then awesome. Hang out with them and like find strength in each other. But if you're perfectly happy with a spiritual journey on your own, there's nothing wrong with that either.
And I think, and this probably may or may not piss people off, but I feel like you're doing it right if it's more on your own. It shouldn't be this big show.
Yeah.
Like it's more an internal thing. Like it's cool to just do it from your home and do you. But like if you need to make this huge show out of it, you are covering up for something, or there's some sort of issue you're having that you feel the need to do that, because that's not what it's about. If that is what it is, you know what I mean? Like it's not.
And sometimes I want to go to church. Like
It's
actually a lot of the
fine.
time I want to go to church because I crave, like, I do want to go and like worship some Sundays or hear the sermon that day and whatever it's going to be. And some days I've gone before and I've really enjoyed it. And then some days I go and I'm like, and I think that's a lot of part of it is you're sitting there listening to it and interpreting what they're saying and giving your own opinion in your head while you're there sitting there. But I don't know, sometimes, and I've never been into contemporary services where people just start crying and like raise their hands and stuff. But I have been to an African American church, and that was one of the craziest emotional experiences I've ever been in. I was there for 5 hours.
Yep.
Holy shit.
And
Before you go.
Whoa.
I did cry just because it was so emotional. I've never, I mean, obviously, I don't know if y'all have heard how it is, so you can only imagine.
Well, yeah,
it's just,
but it feels genuine. Like it feels like people are genuinely experiencing.
I don't even know.
spirituality.
I just wasn't on their level. It's like I was in a bar and I was like, or wasted. I'm sober. Like I wasn't there.
God.
So,
Damn.
but really interesting just to see the differences.
And I think it depends on like what period of time you are in your life too. Because I remember when I was younger and I went to like, and this was like a tiny church. There were no TVs, no nothing. Like you sat there, you listened to the pastor give whatever. And I remember like when my parents were splitting up, there was like a really good message that stuck with me at a young age about like forgiveness. Basically, I could not tell you what it really was word for word, but like I think if you're going through a certain time, you're going to find things that help you cope. And that's cool for some people. They use that, religion is their thing, and that's great. And I think there are times where I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't mind listening to maybe some more old-fashioned yet still open-minded, if that makes sense, as long as it gets me through whatever it is I'm going through. I think if the message is pure, whatever, I don't know, and like hits home, then yeah. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I'm not into like the whole super emotional, like why are you crying? Like, I just touched you. Like, you can walk now. I'm like, no, it does not work that way.
I think bringing up religion as a way to cope is really interesting, especially because, I mean, throughout history, religion has been a way to keep the downtrodden down and keep them satisfied with their state in life, because it's all about your life is pure shit right now. But let me tell you, when you die, ooh.
How many virgins?
Flexing up in heaven. Like,
Yep.
God's going to give you whatever. Have another quote. This is from Mehmet again. Life is meaningful and death is meaningless. And religion's greatest betrayal to humanity is that it gave meaning to death. It wrongly made death as meaningful. Declaring an ultimate end as a hopeful exit somewhere is the biggest crime of all religion.
Oh, wow.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, even in
chills.
like even in American history, slavery, that is the reason
It was the only hope they
religion
had.
was such a big deal, was
Yeah.
because, not that it kept them content, because obviously they weren't,
But
but it made their suffering on earth
meaningful.
not
meaningful.
bearable
but,
or
yeah.
anything, but it's like,
Like, it had a
oh,
purpose,
we have
kind
this to look forward to.
Yeah.
When, I mean, that's just bullshit.
Yep.
And
They're
then
sugarcoating it, basically.
I haven't read this book, but I want to. This is from Oliver Marcus Malloy, the How to Defeat the Trump Cult. Do you want to save democracy? ?
Book club.
The purpose of a democratic government is to protect the poor from the rich. The purpose of a religion is to protect the rich from the poor.
Oh.
And I mean, that's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I get it because of all the
Keep you-
churches that are just making a bunch of money off of, yeah.
Well, yeah, and just think like,
Yeah.
even in medieval times, like,
Oh,
you
God,
had
the
to
church
give
ruled
you had
over
to
everything.
give money to the church to do fucking anything.
They had
Like,
reign over everything, too. Like yeah.
you looked at someone the wrong way and they
Mhm.
fucking cut off your head.
They were the ones that were with the whole witch trials. Like, that's
well,
where
yeah.
that.
I
Like,
mean,
they-
across history, like, literally millions and millions of people have been slaughtered under the guise of Christianity, and it's not Christianity, it's capitalism.
Yeah.
That's like a lot of churches.
It's sad.
Yeah.
So
And again, that's why churches should pay taxes.
So I do think there's a flip side to that as far as people finding comfort in religion. So I think sometimes, like, I like that about religion or faith, that people can find comfort in that if they can't find, and especially when it comes to illnesses or, you know, some sort of traumatic event. So I agree, like, systematic exploitation of people, religion has been used as a way, as a distraction, whether it's poverty or enslavement.
Oh, for sure.
But when people are going through some sort of more short-term trauma, you know, whether it's a loss of a loved one or getting over addiction or something like that, sometimes the faith can be, it gives them something to focus on outside of their trauma. And I like that. Regardless of what faith it is, I think that can be very powerful for a lot of people. So I do like that. And then Sandra, you mentioned earlier, like having a moral code or like, I do think that that's another benefit of some sort of religion, is that it does at least give people some morals to start with. So even if they grow away from it, having something as you're developing your code of ethics,
Like your building blocks, basically.
Yeah,
And then you
just-
sort of go through life and figure out, you know, how to tweak them to make it. Yeah.
it's their guidelines. And so, you know, my growing up, how do I say this? Growing up, I had the Christian moral conduct or moral code of the 10 Commandments and blah, blah, blah. And so even though now I don't necessarily believe in the 10 Commandments, but I can still like respect the lessons that they were trying to show, like, don't fucking murder people.
right.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Honor your father and mother. But then at the same time, if your father and mother are shitty, then fuck
Don't.
them. Like that kind of thing.
Don't do
So,
it.
but you know, just having that framework in place, I think it's helpful during the developmental times, whether it's as a child or if you're relearning how to live after some sort of trauma or addiction or something like that.
I feel like religion is like a snack food. It's good in moderation.
Yeah.
Like, just,
Yeah. There's a time and place.
yeah.
I think the addiction mindset is interesting because
Oh, gosh, yeah.
AA, I think, is religious based.
Oh, for sure.
But they're literally replacing one addiction with another.
They are.
Yeah.
And then they make you addicted to church. And
You
then when
talk
you
to
fuck
people
up,
that are-
you have
yeah.
this guilt and shame it's even greater. You know, I don't know.
I wonder what the statistics are for like how people are, if it's more successful for them when they're in your typical AA, or if like let's say they go to like maybe a more not so typical type of AA situation where there isn't religion. Like, I wonder how that would be in comparison to, because I've talked to a few people who have been in, and they're super religious to the point where it's obnoxious. And I'm like, you're, like Katie said, basically just replacing it. Like, you are so consumed by this now. Like, how, God forbid, something happens and you fuck up a little bit. Like, what are you going to do?
But
Like,
is it more or less destructive than their addiction was? I think that's kind of what it,
yeah,
like,
it's
in
true, I
balance.
guess.
Like, you know, alcohol can physically kill you, but also emotionally, you can go through situations where you can kill yourself.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I guess we wouldn't really know what's better
interesting
for
to
the
see.
person, like
Yeah.
them being completely blackout drunk every day, or them getting emotionally, like extremely emotional every day. And
Really
that could
hard
lead
on
to horrible
themselves.
things too.
Yeah.
Like even like people
Stress.
treating other people horribly because a lot of the things in the Bible, like I just there's a lot of things that Christians have done that have been really shitty. And
Yeah.
I think in general, like for most things in life, religion, food, everything, it's like find that middle ground.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
right.
anytime people go to the extreme of anything,
It was bad.
it just doesn't seem to work well. Like
Nope.
Right.
find
Like,
balance,
history has
people.
proved itself
Like
there.
stop
Like,
with this
yeah.
extremist
for sure.
shit.
Yeah.
Like
You have your crazies for sure, but they're not all that way.
I think the best thing people can do is live by example of their faith. Like, don't push it on other people. Just live how you believe you should be living to live your
Keep it to
best life.
yourself.
Well, yeah, and then people will follow that. Like, I respect someone so much when they genuinely seem happy and at peace. Like, I have a lot of friends who are very devout Christians, and they don't push it on me, and I love and respect them so much for that. And like, those are the people I enjoy being around. So even though we may not agree on everything, the way they're living their life is something that I want to emulate as well. You know, and so I'm seeing all of that sort of peace and happiness and purpose that they have, and I'm like, okay, how do I get that? Versus someone who's like, so can I talk to you about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? I'm like,
No.
absolutely
No.
not.
It's like that funny meme where the hippo's like, sir, can I talk to you about Jesus?
No,
He's like
nope.
chasing after the guy.
Nope.
No, do not want. Don't do it.
So we had a couple of Mormon boys
Well,
bike up
bless
to the
their
house the
hearts.
other day.
They're always
And,
so cute though in their little suits. Like,
You know, the Mormons are just they're something totally different.
yeah, it's
Jehovah's Witnesses
and,
too are right up there with them.
Yeah.
and you
We'll
know,
save
vice versa. I've seriously had an atheist say horrible things to me.
Oh yeah.
Well,
People-
yeah,
yeah,
no,
they're
there's
both
shitty
crazy.
people
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
So
There are assholes
I think-
everywhere.
I think Hannah, I think you're making an extremely good point. Is everything in moderation?
Yep.
Stay
Like
middle
snack food.
grounded
This is snack food.
and be nice to people.
Yeah, just be fucking nice.
Oh my
Fucking
god,
hard is that?
How
Like,
hard is that?
honestly.
So I won't tell the story then about the Mormons.
I always laugh when I see them ride down the little bikes. So I'm just like, oh, bless their hearts. They don't know any better. They don't.
They don't.
They
They're-
don't.
They're doing what they believe is right.
I just feel sorry for them.
Don't push it on us.
No.
Go away.
Are there like any parts of religion that anyone normally doesn't like or has steered clear from that you now kind of
Vibe on.
vibe on? Yeah. Nice, Hannah.
Parts of
I guess parts of religion. Like I feel like I like certain parts of Buddhism. They're the least
They're very peaceful.
violent. They're very well. They light themselves on fire, but it's themselves. They're
That's
not
their
doing
prerogative.
exactly. That's why I'm like, do you know they're doing it? They're not mass murdering people.
midsummer.
Oh fuck! I saw that. That was nuts.
Yeah.
It was nuts. Like I had to turn it off for a little bit because I was like, what the fuck? But it was good.
Yeah,
I also felt disturbed, highly disturbed afterwards. No, but
and not the
I
same. I was just thinking of
No,
like
no, you're
some of
good.
the parts.
They seemed like very peaceful people.
Yeah,
Until they
Yeah.
killed and lit people on fire.
was
Spoiler
nuts.
alerts.
Yeah. No, if you haven't seen
Who among
Midsummer,
us hasn't been lit on fire by a
go watch-
Christian? Well, that's whatever.
Metaphorically or literally.
No, but I do like Buddhism and like their whole like selflessness and like just thinking more. If any religion, that would be the only one I think I would pick bits and pieces from. Minus the setting myself on fire. I think I might not do that.
I don't know.
But they do that for like animal rights, which is
No.
kind of. I'm like, oh fuck, okay. Let me go eat a cheeseburger now. Like, damn it. Like I don't. Meh.
So I have a book recommendation for people that want to explore other religions, and it's a very basic book. It's called The World's Religions by
Okay.
Houston Smith. I had to read it in college because I took several religious like poetry classes. Gives a breakdown of like the big six. So you have your 3 Abrahamic religions and then the Southeast Asian religions. So if I had to pick one that I liked the most, it would be Taoism, which is where you get your yin yang symbol.
Yep.
The yin yang twins, as it was. And that is a Chinese philosophy based on the writings of Lao Tzu. And it advocates for humility and religious piety.
I love all those books with oh man. Yep.
So the core basic belief of Taoism is that the Tao is the origin of all things in the universe, and they believe that people can become deities and live forever. I don't necessarily believe that, but some people do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I think there's no one particular religion or piece of religion necessarily that's blown my mind, like holy shit. But one of my favorite things to think about, and I would get into arguments with some of my Christian friends in college who shall remain nameless about the philosophy behind it. And I love the idea that everyone, like, your belief is your truth. And so that's something that I've always really liked. Like, whatever you genuinely believe, like, it boils down to energy again and manifestation. But, like, if you really genuinely believe something, then that is true for you. So when you have this moment, like this 1,000th of a second when your brain stops working when you die, like, you have this split second of consciousness, and whatever the last thing you believe, that's just your truth. So if you think you're going to go to heaven, then you spend eternity in this heaven-like state. Or if you think you're going to be reincarnated, then
You think you
why
really
not?
think
Like,
about that though, like in your last?
I
minutes?
think that you
feel-
have a moment right at the end where there's an awareness of something. So
like
whether
I
it's just
fucking
like
left the coffee
embracing,
on, like
well, if it's something like embracing nothing, or being happy to go to heaven, or feeling guilty about your sins, or like, I think that there's a moment of awareness right at the end of someone's life where their truth really does manifest itself.
which is true.
When
If you ask certain people who have been close to, well, there's this really good and this is kind of unrelated, but sort of related, but there's a really good documentary, like a BBC one, of like men in combat in the war, aftermath of like when they've had like their limbs blown off, and like they describe the ones who are able to remember their last few minutes before like they thought they were gonna die, and some of them did. Basically, they were brought back, but like, yeah, yep,
It's always, I know in that
It's, like, a
show,
very
like, I
peaceful-
shouldn't be alive. like,
Yeah,
they
that
talk about
too.
their, and it's all the same. It's like the common thing is it's peaceful and like warm, and you have no like
crazy.
worries.
Yeah.
So hearing that is comforting.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I think there's no reason what you believe can't be true. I mean, really, if you're putting energy into it, you're making it true. So, I don't know. I've always liked that idea that everyone's right. It's the millennial way.
just don't be an asshole.
I can't believe I forgot to mention in the Blow Your Mind one, my fucking witchcraft shit.
Oh, well,
That's probably been the most powerful for me. I mean, I've literally manifested money, like out of nowhere. Like, it's crazy.
yeah, it's good. If you set your mind to something and you put your energy into something, it's
I also really believe in like jumping the tracks. You know what I'm talking about on Sinister Head?
no.
Fucking
Like-
no, I don't.
Alternate realities. Like, everything runs parallel, and if you think of something hard enough, you can jump the track into the next one, and everything else stays the same.
Really?
That's not really a religion,
It's more conspiracy theory, but I'm into it. So,
is it?
philosophy,
I mean, it's like the string theory.
existential. It's an existential theory. We're not high enough for this.
Is this like Inception or?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
That's
what?
an episode.
Let's talk about existence.
We need a stoned religious episode.
God. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
No.
We've tried.
We would
We've
just
tried
be-
to podcast high before. It doesn't.
No.
I thought it turned out great.
The science one turned out great. The book review, not so much. So if we actually have to go off materials,
I thought
Not
it was
so
great, but okay.
Well, I have a crazy story because I couldn't think of. When I was thinking about like a religion that completely blew my mind, I started thinking about the story that absolutely blew my mind about a patient that I had in Charlotte, and it's really, really crazy. This was around the time that Mike's mom was going through brain cancer. So I had this patient, never had him before. Walk in the room, and I'm just like not in the best mood because this is like towards kind of like it was really, really bad at that point with his mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I walk into the patient room and he's just all big smiles. This guy, like really tall, like 6'7" black guy, like has COPD, but super, super sweet. Like, oh my gosh. And he's like, good morning. And I'm like, hey. And I'm like starting to do my work and like asking questions. And he was just like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He was like, okay, because you can talk to me if you need to talk to me. And I was like, oh, I'm totally okay. And then that was it for a little bit later. And then I was asking him about his medical history. And I saw in his history that he had gotten this really, really bad car accident like a year prior and like actually died and came back like a little bit later.
Wow.
So then I see all that. I'm like, you were in a car accident? He was like, yeah, it's a crazy story. And then one of the nurses came in and was like, you should need to hear about the story. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So he tells me a story. It's basically like that TV show, you know, like people go, they die and they come right back. But he got in this horrible accident, was brought back to the main hospital in Charlotte and was pronounced dead in the bed. And his whole family came. This was like 30 minutes.
He was dead for 30 minutes?
He was like flatline for 30 minutes.
Damn.
So really, it's a true story.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so, and when I was reading all this, I was like, how? I didn't think that, I mean, they had him hooked up. Maybe he was still getting.
You never know. I mean, shit is crazy.
I don't know. This guy's like, seems healthy as a hot ox now. Like, but this was like 5 years ago.
I
Hawks.
thought you were going to say healthy as a hot dog.
Those things are healthy. So that's amazing. He described the room, like he was flatlined. Okay. So he described the room exactly how it was, described everybody who came in there exactly how it was, remembered what everyone said, even though he's flatlined, which I think is incredible.
Holy shit.
And then I just started getting all emotional because he was getting emotional and he was like crying, telling me the story. And so then I started crying. And then he was just like, I know. And I know like there's hard things going on with you and your boyfriend, like legitimately said that to me. And I was like,
what?
Yeah, it was crazy. I've never gotten like this. And I mean, I've had patients tell me really sad stories and I've gotten on the verge of tears, but this was like one of the craziest things ever. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, like my boyfriend, he's like his mom.
Damn.
And I was like, yeah. And he was like, it's going to be okay. He's like, she's going to feel better.
I would have fucking bawled my eyes
and
out.
I was crying so hard. And he was like, and you're going to be a rock that your boyfriend never knew he had and all this stuff. And it was like the craziest.
I know. I'm like,
serious. Yeah. And then it was like maybe a week later, his mom passed away. And like,
oh my God.
But then he told me, he was like, and you know what? Death, I've been there. He was like, and he was just telling me how peaceful it was. And he was like, you know, I believe in God. Like he didn't necessarily say he was a Christian. He just said, I believe in God. That's all he said. And
yeah,
he was like, he's like, enjoy your life and just be there for your boyfriend and all this stuff. And it was just the craziest shit I've ever
That is insane.
dealt with. Like just me. And then he just was so genuinely friendly. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. I would have died.
And he was just so for sure, like, because, you know, I'm scared of death. So occasionally I'll be like, oh my God, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then hearing him tell this story, like in real life, like he's been there and felt all these things.
Something as traumatic as that. I mean,
yeah.
It's scary.
Freaking nuts.
Yeah.
So that's my mind-blowing story.
That's
That happened. That was like only a few, 5 years ago. 6
Holy
years ago.
shit. I've never had that kind of, that's wild. All right. So what are our lessons for our younger selves? If we had to give little baby us one takeaway from this whole religious philosophy discussion we just had, what would it be?
It's okay not to feel that warm, loving embrace of Jesus Christ in your heart. I don't think a lot of other people feel it either. So nothing's wrong with you.
Don't feel guilty.
You don't have to go lay up on those church steps like an asshole and just worry that everyone's eyes are on the back of you, because they are. Everyone's looking at you up there. And hold your nose when they dunk you.
Yep. You're going backwards, girl.
You will inhale that dirty fucking holy water.
Did y'all have, okay, so I grew up Baptist. Did y'all have the baptism tank in the church?
Right now. So
no.
At my church, yes, we had, it was like a
plexiglass window type thing? Like you're in the aquarium?
Dunked you down. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to church with my friend, they did all their they were like a different type of Baptist. They were like, there's like Baptist, and then there's like,
Baptist.
they did all of their baptisms in the family swimming pool.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
So I got,
You got dunked in the pool.
yeah, and then I had my bathing suit underneath, my white t-shirt. So I was just like playing the
Yeah,
pool
girl.
afterwards, which is what I really wanted to do.
I got baptized in the church with the aquarium window when I was like 8. And
That's
then when I was a
amazing.
teenager, like I redevoted my
Jesus.
life.
Yeah.
You know how it be. And then they baptized me in the lake. So lots of lake baptisms. You just go stand in the muddy water and
See, I never did anything like that.
yeah, that's.
I was
I mean,
never
I think
baptized.
are Baptists the only ones who do the full submersion though?
Oh,
I
they fucking
think
hold your fucking head up under there.
I've
Yeah.
see, I've
I
never.
don't think it's just them. Because my mom wasn't Baptist, but well, theirs is like a fancy one, like in the little church bowl. the
Oh
little,
yeah,
like,
no,
the
where they
bird
do like
bath.
the little.
It looks like a
I
fucking
had
bird
that
bath.
like as a baby.
My mom wanted me to, but my dad, for some reason, didn't want us to be. He was the more non-religious
I mean-
kind. Neither was my mom.
I mean, it's not like you
It's
remember
more
it.
just a
No.
nice ceremony, I think. I'm like, okay.
But I never did like as a teenager. I even went to these like I was in these like crazy Baptist youth groups, and
You never did it.
but I never walked up there. Like I remember sitting in the audience and being like, no.
Okay,
No.
so for
No.
our listeners who have never been to a traditional Baptist service or a really go watch Jesus
Righteous-
Freaks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah,
Jesus
Righteous
Freaks on
Gemstones.
Netflix. Watch The Righteous Gemstones. And honestly, Jesus Freaks hit really close to home too.
Yeah.
It really
Haven't seen that.
did. But it's you get caught up in this like mob hysteria almost where
It's-
they want people to like
makes me
feel
mad.
so
I can't watch stuff
compelled.
like that.
It is like this violent, aggressive, in your face. Like if the preacher's face isn't tomato red, like
About to have an aneurysm.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
about to stroke out.
See, I can't watch that stuff. Makes me angry. Like I literally will get angry and I can't watch it.
See, I've never like I went to Presbyterian.
But
Yeah,
now I'm
it's totally
intrigued. I wanna
different.
See it, but I'm also like,
There are still to this day some very extreme sects.
Yes.
polygamy, all that
Sex?
shit.
There's lots of extreme sects out
Yeah.
there. Different episode.
A few episodes back, actually.
Coming up next.
We're going from sects to sex. Anyway,
Oh man.
no, there are still some very extreme branches. Maybe is a better way to say that
yeah.
of religious groups within Christianity and other religions that would surprise people. I think that they
It's
still
nuts.
exist in
Yeah.
America. Honestly, like you know,
They make TV shows about them.
well, I mean, and I grew up in a very, very rural area, like in southern Appalachia. Like, people don't get a lot of exposure to outside ideas, so they just.
But also, you know right from wrong. Like, it's not okay to marry a young child and have multiple young child brides. It's not okay.
I'm so
Like-
lucky that I had open-minded parents. I have no idea how they got that way. I have no idea where
Yeah,
they
'cause
learned it
y'all-
yeah,
from.
that's great.
But
Oh my God.
like, my life would be so different if they hadn't been so open-minded and so accepting and loving of people. Again, no idea where it came from, because as much as I love my grandparents, they're a little racist and like
Ugh.
a little closed-minded. Like, what can you do? And if you get my dad really drunk, he'll get really upset about it, talking about how
Aw.
like his parents can be racist. And he's like, it's just not right. And I'm like, oh,
Well,
daddy,
I think if
it's
you're
okay. Like,
if you explore the world coming from a religious family, you can
Yeah.
you see what else is out there, and it's pretty crazy.
yeah. So I'm very, very lucky. Have no idea how it happened.
That's good.
I also find it extremely interesting, like when I went to Austria and other places in Europe, like it's just Catholic.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not there's
My
no
mom, yeah.
I mean, obviously because of how history works and how things were brought over here and things like that. But they were fascinated, my coworkers in Austria, about like when I started talking about my hometown, I'm like, it's like a church town, you know. I said something like that, and I wasn't even thinking like they don't know what that is.
Yeah.
They're not like that in Europe. It's not
Like
the
they have the
same.
one Catholic church in each little town, and then that's it.
Yeah.
They don't have these like
You
different.
don't have extremists as much over there. I feel like
I don't
not-
know. I didn't really ask them those questions, but
my
They-
mom, even my mom was growing up as a kid, and she's from Germany, so it's slightly different, but like similar in the sense that like they just don't have the same. I mean, they have crazies, of course. There's crazies everywhere, but like there just isn't like the extremists that there are here in the U.S. It's just something about the freedom. Well, in other countries too, but like it's just. And then you have fucking Hitler, who just like fucking ruined it for everybody. But that's a whole other story.
I was talking about how growing up, you know, some Baptist churches, Because my church, it's weird, the Presbyterian church that I went to, they didn't talk much about like abstaining. There wasn't a lot of like these big sermons that were telling you what to do, like that kind of Baptist of what is. And I was explaining to my coworkers in Austria, like, these churches tell you, like, tell kids, like, don't have sex. And then they're going to have sex. And then they were like, oh, yeah. I mean, everybody has sex.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
That's like, literally how the human race has survived for this long.
And they just were shocked that that would even be brought up at a church service, is what they said.
Oh, I remember I went to a service one time as a teenager, and they had an entire service on sex, and they made the kids, like, made anyone who wasn't married leave. So like, I was like 17, 18 years old, and I had to go sit with the kids.
Oh, wow.
Like in the kids group, because they're like, we are only letting married couples and like older adults stay in for this sermon. Because it was like they were teaching about keeping marriage. I don't even know what they taught about because I wasn't.
You're like, I want to know how to keep marriage alive for when I get married.
18,
Thank you.
I need to know about sex.
Oh
You
my
need to
God.
tell me things about sex. Like I'm only lightly familiar and feel really guilty about it at this point in my life. So,
Well, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
I know we got off topic.
Oh my
So
God,
our
we could-
lessons for our younger selves.
But
but-
still on topic.
This could be like hours. We could do this for
Well,
hours.
but yeah,
we could.
man.
But
But so mine was my lesson for my younger self. You don't have to go to church if you don't like it. You don't have to go to a youth group if you don't like it. You don't have to do anything if you don't necessarily like it. And if it, like we've said before, if it feels good for you, do it,
That's church or masturbation.
I
I feel like the overarching theme of every episode is if you don't like it,
Don't
don't
do it.
fucking do it.
Right.
Don't waste your time.
you do you.
Basically, that's
And-
exactly what I wrote from her.
Me, as a Christian, I would say God loves you for you, and your relationship with Him is between you and Him, and that's in your heart and no one else's heart.
I like that.
Well said.
That's good.
Mine was my lesson to my younger self is that there are solid lessons in most religions, but at the end of the day, it just boils down to how you treat other people and how you make them feel and how you feel about yourself. So focus on the lessons that help you become the kind of person that you want to be and that you feel best being. So take what you like from lots of religions and just be a good fucking person. Honestly, like that's my lesson to my younger self.
Just love
True facts.
love people, love everybody.
Be fucking nice. Okay?
Yeah, mine was like, do you, and don't go to church if you don't want to, because your friends are going and your neighbors are going. I mean, go and check it out, but like, don't feel obligated to keep going, because the second time you fell asleep, it's gonna happen again. Like you're just gonna, and don't try and convert the nice Christian boy in college. Oh my God, y'all, I dated this little Christian. He wasn't little, he was older than me, but I thought he was the cutest thing ever. We met in dance class. He was very Christian, hadn't had sex in a long time, was very anti-sex. We had sex. He made me feel so bad about it. He's like, we need to shower right now. And I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
So then we didn't do it again for a little bit. It happened again. Oh my God. I was like, all right, I can't.
No.
And he's like, if we're not getting married and having children, this is not going anywhere. I'm like, dude, I am 18. Calm your tits.
Yes.
So
yes.
if I could have steered clear from one major relationship, I'd have been like, okay, bye. Oh my God.
I'm having a
Katie's
fucking
losing it.
aneurysm. All right, so on my brief foray into the dating world, like in
Oh.
both instances when I was single, like I had more than one person tell me that like I don't date for anything other than marriage or children.
What the fuck?
And that in itself is, yeah. But at the age of 18, you're like, fuck you. I still have a lot of life to live. I'm not trying to
But I
marry you.
don't fucking say that
No,
on the
that
first
too.
date.
No, not on the first date. Oh boy.
True.
Don't.
Say that like maybe
Or maybe that
6
helps.
months into
Maybe that helps.
I mean, it's a good vetting process. It's a
weeds
good
out
litmus
the-
test.
No.
So then you don't
Oh,
find
you know
out
what?
like
Maybe tell me that before the first date. You know, when you're in the texting phase.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, heads up, I don't date for anything other than like knocking
Marriage.
you up.
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And Katie has left the chat.
I'm like, I'm gonna head out.
This has been cool,
I'm
but
gonna make like that baby we're not having, and I'm gonna head out.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So I'm not getting dick pics, is what you're telling me.
Y'all, that college boy I dated ended up
Probably are.
moving away like a year later.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
has like
Of
6
course you
kids now. 6 or 7 kids, actually.
Oh.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Like,
kids. Sorry,
lots
we
of babies.
interrupted your
No,
story
you're
with
good.
dick
I'm
pics.
just saying. Well, fuck yeah. That's great.
You know those
No.
Christian boys are all sending those dick pics.
Well, and he was really good in the sack. I was really pissed that he was so like annoyed by it. I was like, dude,
That's amazing that he
Well,
was
you
good
know
at
what?
it.
He should have taken our life lesson. If he didn't want to do it, he shouldn't have done
He
it.
had a giant penis.
Ugh.
I was like, God
Wasted.
damn it.
It still doesn't
And not
mean if
long,
he didn't
it's
want to
just,
do it, he
you
shouldn't
know,
have done
the
it.
girth of it was
And
just great.
Maybe when
What
he
a
was like,
waste.
"Hey, I'm not comfortable with it,"
And he was a
should have
great
been like,
dancer.
All right, okay.
We had ballroom dancing and like swing dancing. That's how we met in that class. And he was great. Dear God, that man. All right. So now we get to talk about things we're loving this week. Hopefully overcome those things we're crying about. Katie, what were you loving this week?
Well, honeys, let me tell you about my new personal Lord and Savior. It is the Love Island UK. I have never become so enthralled with anything as I am with this fucking show. I have watched 18 hours of this
shit.
in 3 days. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
Heavily invested. Love everything and everyone and all of it. I love all of it. It's terrible. It's bad. Ryan is like talking in a British accent now, which normally I hate, but I'm like, chop chop cheerio, like whatever. I don't care. Like, let's just watch more Love Island. Like, I didn't even want to watch the new Bob's Burgers and stuff last night because I was like, I have to know what happens with Shanice and Luke T.
Oh my God. I can't.
Does she pick him? Who's going home? Is Nas going to pick Demi? He's finally out of a friendship relationship on the Love Island.
I need to watch this.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so
What
good.
is it
Like,
on?
I want to go home and watch that and not watch The Bachelor.
Oh my God.
But I'm going to watch
Katie.
The Bachelor because that's also what I'm loving because Victoria F's Trash Fire of a Life is coming into fucking display tonight.
Trash fire,
Display.
Oh, now I'm ready.
They're airing her dirty laundry.
It's
my
like
God.
happening right now.
I'm dead.
You
I
realize
know.
that, like we're missing it. Like
I
right
know.
now,
I
these
know.
things are being talked
Right
about.
now.
I'm gonna go home. I'm
Literally.
gonna restart it. I'm gonna watch till I fall asleep, and then in the morning when I wake up, I'm not even gonna get out of bed.
What is Love Island on?
Hulu,
Perfect. Okay.
ITTV if you're in the UK.
ITTV.
ITTV.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, oh man, it's
Oh, yeah.
good.
He does a
That's
garbage
good.
fire.
Well, I'm.
Oh.
Oh.
I will fight you.
Oh.
You go
Oh.
first.
Okay.
Escalated quickly.
I'm loving The Bachelor too. I mean, obviously, that's just a given right now, and I'm like really anxious because I want to watch it right now.
Right.
And I'm also loving my Fitbit that I got because I had lost my other one,
Yeah. Oh.
and I finally got a new one.
I like that one. Snazzy.
So I'm loving getting house projects done. So I've been getting a lot done around my house. I finally finished painting all my kitchen cabinets. I got all the hardware installed. I tiled my fireplace.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah, I
your
did.
notes. See lost keys.
I did replace the lock on my front door. I've been wanting to get a digital lock for a long time, and so since I lost my keys, what better time than the present?
was a sign.
So I've been like Home Depot Barbie hardcore the past few
Yeah.
weeks. Like me and Home Depot are.
I'm gonna
tight.
buy you a like a little utility
Tool
belt.
belt?
Yes.
I love
I'm gonna
it.
buy you a utility
pink one.
belt.
A pink one.
I'm gonna take. You get to take it home with you.
You get to take it to Home Depot with you.
That's
Yes.
right, I do. I took Maggie to Home Depot. She did great.
Oh.
She's in Home Depot, like oh.
I have gotten to the point where I recognize some of the workers at Home Depot, and I'm like, we don't need to make eye contact. It's fine. This is fine.
Yeah, there
Oh
was
my
at
God.
one point Raquel was like, "Oh, are you guys here for more chic gray?" And I'm like,
Oh, no.
All right, one, you can take your paint smudge smock and get the fuck out of my face, Raquel. And two, yes, I'm going to buy the 5-gallon bucket this time because I don't want to see your fucking face anymore. Cunt, bitch.
I don't have those feelings at Home Depot. It's like my happy place.
I just didn't like her.
Oh my
I
god.
didn't like the cut of that jib, you know?
Raquel's just like that
Raquel.
name.
And Ryan was like, oh, like, I saw Raquel at Home Depot. And I'm like, did you?
Ugh.
She sounds hideous.
Yeah.
Well, she wears khakis, so
She does wear khakis and a smock.
That should be the title.
God, I can't.
She
I
wears
can't.
khakis.
She does wear khakis.
She does wear khakis.
Oh God.
Okay.
Susie, what are you loving?
I was gonna say just work, but
No, how many times did you say that?
work. No, but I've been yesterday. I literally all day binge watched Vikings, and it's an older show. It's on the History Channel, but I love me some big bearded men with man buns,
Word.
and they're all blonde and blue eyed, and beautiful. Wow, how many bees can I have?
Love it.
with their buns.
But it's good. It's like violent and there's Vikings and it's interesting and I like stuff like that. So yeah, I've been binge watching that and kind of loving the fact that I have literally a month left of my 20s. It's insane. I'm low-key also scared and screaming internally, but it's fine.
No.
If honestly, it's pretty much exactly the
I think it's mostly because I went from like basically having my life together and like almost being married and living in a house to like now I have a roommate and I'm not engaged and I'm
I
happier.
personally feel like you have your life more together now than you did.
I feel a lot
Agreed.
happier. Well, thanks. Fuck, I feel better. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I feel a lot happier. Like,
Because that is what society tells you have to have at that
Yes,
point, but
I
you
know.
don't to have your life together.
never settle.
no, okay. I know, and I feel better about it. I think it's just every now and then I'm just like, oh shit. Like my mother had me when she was 26, and I'm like, meh.
Girl, my parents had me when they were 21.
No, I don't really want kids either, so it's whatever. But no, yeah,
I'm
like
born to
life's
myself
life's
when I
pretty
was
good.
0.
I am asexual. I just duplicate myself whenever I get too big.
Same
I
though.
split into two.
Me too. Jekyll and Hyde. Fuck.
What are you about to say?
I forgot to self-promote myself. I passed my real estate test.
What are you loving? Yeah, girl.
If anybody didn't get that, Katie passed her real estate exam.
And I missed the whole fucking celebration.
Fucking
basically,
awesome.
so that was
Cheers.
great. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, those are nice.
I know.
I hear that.
Okay.
I sloshed it.
Slash. Oh no.
Sloosh.
All right. So next time we're going with another listener submission or a listener request. So Joy AP1105 sent in an email through our website and asked if we have ever taken the Myers-Briggs tests, and if so, what are your types? If not, you totally should take it. I have taken it. Have y'all taken it?
I have.
It's been a while.
Been a while.
Okay. No. No, don't sing. Do not,
Sorry.
not stop it. I saw that look come across your face. It was like,
Okay.
anyway, so yeah, we're going to be talking about Myers-Briggs. We talked about the Enneagram several months ago, and now we're going into Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We're going to learn about our personalities. We're going to be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I totally relate.
I feel
Yes.
like the last time I did one was in high school or something like that.
Myers-Briggs?
It's been a while. Like a long... No, it was like mandatory college.
Mm.
Your
Been a
first
while.
class for the icebreaker. Yeah.
All right. So until next time, please go follow us on social media if you haven't already. Send your friends to our podcast or to social media pages. If you think someone would enjoy listening to all this random stuff that we talk about, send them our way. It's really just like hanging out with your drunk friends on a Wednesday, right?
Basically.
Wednesday morning on the way to work. Hang out with us.
Totes.
Totes my goats. And we got a new review, which we absolutely love. So this one is from
TZ_shoots.
exactly. And this person, I actually do know who this person is. They have their own podcast called Tapes from the Dark Side, which I've really, really enjoyed. So if you have a chance, if you like true crime or procedural type podcast, I absolutely recommend this. They've done an amazing job editing. Honestly, the first time I listened to it, I sent them a message and I was like, was this your first ever podcast? Because the sound quality is amazing. Like, it's really, really good. Like, our first podcast episode was pure garbage.
Yeah, for
It was-
sure.
It was
It's
100% trash.
Yeah.
In
What was
fact-
even our topic for the first one, though?
Our letters to our younger
Oh,
selves.
yeah, that's right.
But yeah,
Oh,
the sound,
boy.
we had no idea what we were doing. And this person really does a great job. But they say, LYBB, these girls are about to fuck you up. Yes, that's right.
Oof.
The hottest, wittiest, most hilarious girls in the podcasting world. The advice you wanted from the Girl Wash Your Face, now being served up in a free and weekly format from sassy as you please experts in all things womanhood. It's the group of sister mentors you wish you had raised you. A must listen. We love you so much.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
That is like,
a really good one.
it warms my heart.
That is
So
like the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
Oh, man.
it's legitimately really, really nice. So
Yeah,
thank
no, I'm
you.
being serious.
It's like awesomely nice. So
Is it
go.
the hottest.
We are hot. Thank you.
Oh,
They can't
Jesus.
see us right now, and that's okay. But
I look great.
I changed into
Speak for
sweatpants
yourself.
when I got here. So
My lips and my teeth are purple.
So yeah, but go listen to their podcast as well. Tapes from the Dark Side. They have like a procedural show, but then they have an after show too where they talk about it, and it's really well produced and interesting if you like true crime, which all four of us do. So
Yes.
highly recommend. They're on all of the platforms, just like us. So when you're going to follow them, follow us too, or send us to a friend.
clicky poo.
Yep. We'll be neighbors, podcast neighbors.
Yeah.
Susie just said clicky poo.
I
she
did. I was hoping y'all didn't hear
Want y'all to
me.
know that.
We heard it and we're not cutting it.
Okay.
Okay.
You got to live with that shame forever.
We're putting it on your
I
gravestone.
sound
girl.
like my mother.
your Dateline talking
Clicky
head.
poo. Clicky
You know, I really liked Susie until this one time she said clicky poo, and
I'll be
then
like, listen.
now I think she deserves it.
You know, and I knew then. I thought that was weird. I thought that was really weird at the time.
Okay.
And looking back, I realized
Oh.
That's
Okay.
when she was a killer.
Okay.
I should have known all along.
Okay.
Oh man, I didn't think about that. I got to go back and write one for like if you guys murder somebody.
Yeah. So until next time, we'll talk to y'all later. We love you. Thank you for listening, for hanging with us, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
So keep it weird.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, ah, do, do,